So, taking a few takes of this video. The TLDR is Semiramis is now like super oversaturated in one part of the damage formula. Well, not that much, but if you run into man attribute, yeah, you're definitely gonna overcap on it like pretty quickly. She needs at least 2 more buffs. And the last thing, I am not a huge fan of how they show her damage now. I think this is like one of the most misrepresented like things on this list, on par with Arjuna Altar. No, way worse than Arjuna Altar, because he's still getting stuff that multiplies well with Buster. Semiramis, no, she needs at least 2 buffs, and we'll get into that in a bit. So, Assassin from Apocrypha. Apocrypha was the first Fate thing I watched like to completion, like an actual series, like even before Fate Zero, even before Fate Stay Night, any version of it. For me, it was Apocrypha, and it is what it is. I really like this character, and it got like, she unironically got me more interested in like King Arthur's, like the whole thing with King Arthur, because like I'm gonna be honest, like more like I did find Saber a little boring at the start, and then like Semiramis' dynamic with Mordred like made me more interested in Saber in general. Goes to show fandom influences the fans until the fans actually watch it and think for themselves. Who would have thought? All right, so base attack, it's okay, on the lower side, but not egregious. However, she's an assassin, so always no negative damage modifier. HP 13.2k. This is on the lower mid side. It's not egregious, but it's like not that far off. MP charge 0.39. She is designed to have her second skill up the whole time, or as much as possible. She was also created when Double Merlin was a big thing. Semiramis is one of the last 5 stars that came out before the Lost Belts. So she's coming out, I believe, at the tail end of the Double Merlin system. So that's kind of why her gain is like that. If she's not critting, this is like really bad. It is not good. Tomomo's arts cards are probably better. No, they are better, because she has 3 of them and an extra hit. Sergeant is normal assassin stuff. Hit counts overall are good. Again, it's just like her deck. And this is one of the things that is just never gonna change with her, unless they buff her. And if they're gonna buff this part, it's gonna be in her second skill. But I would also like them to fix a different issue by buffing this skill, and again, we'll get to that soon. No, by buffing the same skill, sorry. Fix a different issue by buffing that same skill at the same time. Then I feel her damage placement there might be a little better. But, yep. Trades to exploit, nothing. You have no CEs to get her better bond points, so what you see is what you get with her. First skill, and this leads to some of the huge problems. Oh, sorry, 3 issues. There are 3 issues I'd like solved by them buffing this next skill. This one exacerbates the issue so goddamn much. So, 30 battery on a 5-turn cooldown. That's cool. Reduce all enemies debuff resistance for 1 turn. That's cool, but you have to fight magic resist to get this to land. I know there was another character like this very recent, or not very recently, but recently enough that they had to get it buffed. Phantom of the Opera. That's the exact character I was thinking of. You have to fight magic resist to get the debuff to make your other debuffs land. They need to make, if they buff this skill, and do it in 3 buffs, they need to make this like 150% chance. They need to make the base chance of you landing this so much higher. Because, like, if you run into anyone with magic resist, like, you have a servant in the second wave, you are so fucked, it's not even funny. I don't think this farming is actually gonna show. Okay, yeah, no. It will show, but we'll show it in a second. Actually, no. So, real quick, when you use this website, it always calcs the minimum for damage. And that includes if you are not guaranteed to land your debuffs. Your debuffs just won't land. So on the place, you run into the issue where now Oberon has to be in the first, like, up in front to give her better debuff chance to fight off Fran's magic resist, but you can't fight off Dioscuri. So you start running into various different issues, and also like the cooldown reduction, like how you're doing it, because you're gonna need a pen 5 for skill 3. You are absolutely going to want that, but you also need a pen 2. So Semiramis at MP1 is pretty unwieldy. You are going to want either MP2, Bond 8, or just like having 2 pens like off rip. MP1, you are on the struggle bus. You are going to just run into so many issues. Because like I'm saying, I'm testing this at what would be a Bond 11 Semiramis, someone that used her for so goddamn long, or had her in the back line. You run into so many, like, just charge. Charge. You run into just weird dynamics with debuffs and everything. So right now, like, give her buff success rate, or increase the debuff success rate of just this, and then also make it 3 turns and be very nice. That would be very, very, very nice. But again, that only fixes one of her issues. One of the other issues. So I already mentioned the deck. It's triple arts, and the refund is like really bad. And because she has triple arts, she can't do Buster Brave Chains. So even your crit damage is going to be on the lower side. Unless you bring like someone like Popus Johanna, which I do think is like the best buffer for triple arts. Like she just makes arts crits actually usable for characters like that. But obviously you would probably use in Castoria, not Vitch for that. I'm just putting that out there. If you have refund problems, like Popus Johanna will make her crit, and then her gains are a lot better. So, second skill, 40% MP gain up. And then you ignore defensive class advantage and disadvantage against casters. So, you do 1 times damage, and you take 1 times damage from them, even though you're an assassin. This skill, in this day and age, is not enough. So, let me explain the other issue that Semiramis has. Before her buff, she had nothing. Most recent buff, she had nothing to double stack with Vitch that actually affected damage. You had this. You had the MP gain. That's it. That is all you were double stacking. So, what needs to happen here? An attack buff. Just 20. If it, like, I would like them to do like a buff all in one, but this is on a 5-turn cooldown. They can't go super crazy with the buffs. So, I would like them to buff this skill to also change her deck from triple arts to double buster, double arts. The same way like Alco does it. Like this card would be able to swap if this skill was active or not. If they do that, Semiramis' damage overall just goes up so much because you're already using her with double Vitch. Now you have 2 face guards that can crit really hard. And like take advantage of everything. Then you have the buster, then the attack up is finally getting doubled, and she has something other than raw power mods, which are conditional of you landing your debuffs, but a lot less restrictive than her buster buff, or her buster res down, which again we'll get into a second. So this skill, debuff success rate up, or increase the base chance and make it 3 turns. I think debuff success rate is far easier to work with. Yeah, and then we'll fix, like, it could even be 20, and because she's a buster servant, it's fine. Like, it won't matter. Like, I don't think you need, you'll need it on turn, yeah, no, I would really prefer they also gave her debuff success rate on this skill, because it would make turn 2 a lot easier. But yeah, attack buff, change deck. 3rd skill, this is what got buffed. So you put poison on all the enemies, but again, all of these are 100% chance. If someone has magic resist, they can fight this shit off. And Semirami's damage, if they're not poisoned, falls off a goddamn cliff. And like, you go buried in the fucking sand if they don't get the Buster Res down either. You need to hit both. And that is why, for me, this damage is so fucking misleading. Against servants, something is going to miss. Now, the poison, I'm fine. I am 100% fine with them leaving that as the base damage. Because they done that with Babanchi. However, the Buster Res down, I'm not okay with that, them like just ignoring that there's a chance that fails. Like, the poison, you have like 2 chances to actually get it before you do damage, as long as you pop the skill. If we're talking about like 1 turn instant, yeah, no, there's a chance your debuffs don't land, so why are you not telling people that this is what the damage is if your debuffs don't land? Yeah, it's just always a thing I have with representing data like this. Like, this is a huge misrepresentation, and it does make Semiramis look a lot better. And I said the same thing about Kashin Koji. Like, you need to show the base damage first, so you know what people like. People know what they're getting into. But again, that's just my opinion. These 2 stand out because of anti-traits. Shuten is over here because she does really high damage, but shitload of debuffs. All right, moving on from that rant. So, poison all enemies. Buster Res down. This hasn't changed. This is all what was there before. But before, you need to pay 8 stars to get this to happen. Now, they added that you get a power mod against poison, and it's 50%. So think of this also as 50% crit damage if the enemy is poisoned, but it also applies to your MP and whether you crit or not. And then you also get an on-attack debuff that every time you attack before damage, you put a poison on. So every time, like, unfortunately, this does not have ramp up, but because you're using Vitch, this is gonna get doubled. So yeah, even before your MP, you should get the power mod, which is why, again, I'm fine with them leaving it on here. But the Buster Res down, you only get 1 chance for that, and if it misses, your damage is it's bad. It makes the lack of attack buff even worse. So there's not much of a way to really fix the attack problem. Like, even grailing is not gonna fix the main issue, and that it's just like you have buff stacking in the 200% for Buster and power mods, and then for attack, I think it's only like 20. Like, you would have to, like, we can't even use cranking because, like, you just have so much Buster and MP damage, or because MP damage isn't that part of the formula as the power mods. You're probably better off using Golden Sumo. Not summon, Sumo. Yeah, so in a second, I just want to go through the rest of Semiramis, and then I'll show what are looping. I know I need a better node than this. I definitely, let me just, okay, know what, caster, right? We'll do it on caster because Semiramis, again, she does normal damage against casters. Do these things have magic resist? Doesn't look like it. All right. What about you? You have magic resist. No? Awesome. All right, so again, I'm showing it Oberon out, just because like this is what some people are gonna actually have to do, due to the magic resist. Right. Okay, yeah, no, she killed. Yeah, she killed. All right, had to make sure about that. Okay, pop. And if you didn't know why I'm doing it like this, is very similar to how people black rail loop with characters like Tiamat and other characters that can black rail loop. You have Oberon and you swap out the bitches like this, just in case you haven't seen that before and you're just used to a bitch being out in front, right? Okay, yeah, no, this is a much better showing of damage. And OPP inspection, this is doing a lot better than what it was, and this is also a negative class modifier. So you can bump this up to, I want to say around 200,000 neutral, which, no, 210, right? 215, 210, or, hold up, let me, yeah, no, because this is like, I'm just like rough estimating this. So this should be around 205, 210. Yes. It should be around there. But yeah, negative class modifier. You only have the 35 attack percent. That 20% comes from here. And 15, I believe, came from the craft essence. So, yes. If you're not using this Mystic Code, you have no attack buff. So you can't, like, Semiramis, if they want her damage to go up, they need to give her an attack buff. Because right now she's overcapped. And then it doesn't help the fact that her MP does not have super effective either. I don't think they're going to give her super effective now. Not anymore. Not unless they all, like, they double buff her MP and then like, give her attack up, ramp up too. If they double buff her MP, they have less to do for buffing the skills. So that's up to them. That is up to Lasagna. So, reason I went out of order, just because this is an older character, and I wanted to just talk about the numbers first. So, passives, Star Gen, 6.5%, only has one quick card, womp womp. Arts up 12%, she has 3 arts cards, and the MP gain for them is going to be roided out. Okay, 6% debuff success rate. This fights off small magic resist, but not enough to guarantee anything. That's why Oberon was in front, because his passive was to give 10% debuff success rate to every ally on the field while he's up in front. So, already said it. Sorry. My neck was stiff. Alright, so already said it. You need this to do farming with her. It is absolutely required. Her damage numbers, starting with K-Scope, is just going to be lower. And as you can see here, I had to use Golden Sumo to get her damage to like a reasonable level. At like around 200,000. Because before it was 150,000. That was her 3-turn damage. So, went up by 35% or 33%. That is a huge jump in total damage. But the issue is she is so heavily overcapped on power mods that it affects every other part of the formula. So you always need as much damage as possible. That's also why I didn't pop her third skill in turn 2, because I don't need that much damage on that turn. Cutting it a little close though. I do think that if I was using cranking, I might not make it because of like the lack of attack buff, especially in the earlier turns. you do need this. And the reason being, it lets you pop this back-to-back turns. Turn 2 and turn 3 are most likely where you're going to run into servants. So that's also where you're going to have a conflict here with you wanting to debuff them in conjunction with this, but you cannot do that. Now, if this skill is not maxed out, it does mean you have to pop this turn 1, in which case the issue I'm talking about, like the negative synergy, is non-existent. It's just not going to be there as long as they're popping this skill and this skill in the same turn. And I'm talking about like how it is now, like, but you still have to land this to make sure these land. So that part of the issue is still there. But at least if this lands, these will still be guaranteed to land. But again, the issue is always going to be, does this land? And what turn did you pop it? Are you popping these in the same turn? MP has already been buffed and disappointing for a lot of people. But it does have very unique effects, which is why I don't think I ever put her in like actual garbage tier. Party defense ramp up, party buff removal resistance by 100% for 1 turn, and MP damage. This MP damage is absolutely pathetic. It should have started at least 20 and gone up to 50. Because my god, was her MP already hitting potato damage. Why did they gimp her even harder by giving her very weak scaling? Like each level of OC, good, but I don't think this jump should be there. This reminds me of John's like base MP damage, MP effect scaling, how it's like jumping way more than it should for it to be healthy. Party buff removal resistance. This is really nice, but it was always hard to time this. Not to mention, why are you using Semiramis in this fight in the first place if it's just for buff removal resistance? Now we have Daeon, and his lasts for 3 turns. So I would rather have an esports 4-star that just dies than have to worry about getting a 5-star to NP on the right turn. That's just my opinion on that. I think this is very nice. It was literally to counter on Amakusa. 100%. This is because Amakusa is the thing, and she's just saying nope to him because he probably forgot. He probably pissed her off or something, or ignored her, and now she's just fucking with him. Woman scorned. Oh, no way. It's because he died first in Apocrypha before her. That's probably why. He got the last word and she's pissed, and now she's carrying over the grudge. Bond CE. Buster up 10%. MP damage up 10%. Weak for her because she only has the 1 Buster card. I really do like this character, but there's a lot more work that needs to be done. I think Oki is in a much better state than Semiramis, straight up. Oki, I truly feel she is like 1 small buff away from like being where I want her to be. Semiramis, we still got some work to do. I don't know why they took so long between buffs, because this strengthening, if you don't remember when this happened, was 2019 for Japan. The last time she got buffed was Valentine's Day 6 years ago. Isn't that the year after she came out too? Hold up, wait. No. Because that would have been year 4. It would have been after. Wait. I think this was the year after she came out too. That is disappointing. I'm glad that Lasagna has gotten better about this, and they're not just straight up buffing servants a literal year after they come out. Because that, like, why are you putting flaws in characters if you're just gonna fix them? But Yeah, this is Semiramis. I like this character. I do not recommend summoning for her right now. She has too many issues, but I enjoy her when she's on screen because FGO really takes the piss out of Apocrypha. And it does it in a funny way. And I don't know. I like it. All right. Peace, chat.
Thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like or sub. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.